This is Safeguarding Matters, a podcast by the Safeguarding Resource and Support Hub, RSH. RSH supports organizations in the aid sector to strengthen their safeguarding policy and practice. I am Sylvia Nwoko, the Communications Officer for the Nigeria Hub. In these podcast series, we'll discuss matters related to safeguarding in the aid sector. We'll have conversations with thought leaders and practitioners who can offer insights that can help us all to better understand safeguarding and improve our practices. In this episode, we will be listening to a radio interview, 104.5 Love FM Abuja, with Dr. Eleanor Nwadinobi, the Senior Advisor and National Sustainability Lead for RSH Nigeria. Dr. Eleanor will be talking about the 16 Days of Activism and what the Nigeria Resource and Support Hub is doing to prevent violence against women and girls.
I have a very wonderful person with me in the studio this morning. She's a doctor by profession. She's not just a doctor, she's elegant, she's beautiful, and she's endowed with so much wisdom. By the time I let her into the conversation, you will agree with me, right? I have Dr. Eleanor Nwadinobi. She's from Safeguarding Resource and Support Hub. She's currently serving as Senior Advisor and National Sustainability Lead for the Nigeria Resource and Support Hub. She is a medical doctor, an international health expert on women's peace and security, gender and human rights. She holds a European Union Masters in Human Rights and Democratization from Venice, Italy. She is the International President of the Medical Women's International Association, the first Nigerian in its 104-year history. What a resume. And well, I will let her in now. Good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning, Daniel.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. My name is Eleanor.
Okay. Eleanor Nwadinobi. I know one means child. Obi means heart.
So the thought of the child is in the heart always.
Interesting. Okay, well, good to have you this morning.
Lovely to be here.
Before I ask you more questions, activism for 16 days, what's behind it?
Well, it's a time that the entire globe sets aside 16 days to concentrate on issues around gender-based violence against women and girls. And you might ask, what are those 16 days? They span from the 25th of November all the way to 10th of December. So when you look at that, if you count them, there are 16 days. The 25th of November is the International Day against violence against women and girls. The 29th of November is International Women Human Rights Defenders Day. In the middle of that, you have 1st of December, which is World AIDS Day. And on the 6th of December is the anniversary of the Montreal Massacre. That was a massacre that happened where a gunman went into a tertiary institution, asked the men to stand aside, the women to one side, and open fire on the women in the tertiary institution in Montreal, Canada. And then the last day is 10th of December, International Human Rights Day. So those are the 16 days of activism around gender-based violence against women and girls.
I love your passion, the passion with which you want to express yourself, and also see to it that we have an end to this idea of instituting violence against women. I think I like that passion, but let's look at the safeguarding resource now and support. What is all about?
Yes, I'll tell you, but permit me very quickly to also say that the theme for 16 Days of Activism this year, 2023, is Unite, Invest to Prevent Violence Against Women and Girls. And now to your question about the Resource and Support Hub. That is an online hub which you can easily find at nigeria.safeguardingsupporthub.org. When you go online on this online hub, you will find several tools and resources to support organizations, institutions, programs that deliver any form of development or humanitarian aid in order to remove what we call safeguarding risks. The short understanding of safeguarding is: how can we conduct our programming in a way that we do no harm? How do we protect people from harm? For example, sexual exploitation, abuse, harassment, and bullying. How can we make sure that organizations from the very top echelon of management to support staff onto volunteers, that when they go out to conduct their development work, that they do not harm their beneficiaries, and also that the institutions themselves are not harassing or bullying on account of power or privilege or vulnerabilities. I'll give a very quick example about safeguarding. For example, if you are a humanitarian organization and you are providing humanitarian aid and you visit an internally displaced persons camp, you must not, whether you're a staff or a volunteer, ad hoc staff, demand sex for food. That is a safeguarding breach. And that is what the safeguarding, the Nigeria Resource and Support Hub provides organizations with resources to build their capacity so that there is no safeguarding breach.
Interesting. Now, what is RSH? When I say RSH, that means
the Resource and Support Hub.
For Nigeria, what is it doing in Nigeria to prevent violence against women and girls?
Thank you very much. When you go online, you will be able to, for free, carry out a full online e-learning course to build your capacity and that of your organization and it is a certificated course. So you would now be armed with capacity to make sure that your organization has a watertight safeguarding policy. In fact, nowadays, it's more or less mandatory for especially civil society organizations, but not limited to civil society organizations, to have a safeguarding policy. A policy that, as I clearly outlined earlier, shows that every staff and ad hoc or volunteer member of that organization there will be no safeguarding breach in whatever their programming is. It's not just a tick box piece of paper or a policy on paper, but for the whole organizational culture to be one in which the staff and members of the organization do no harm to the beneficiaries that they work with. So you will find that free online course. Additionally, you will be able to look at all that I'm saying in a simplified form, in an animated form, so that you would easily understand what safeguarding is all about. In addition to that, you would be able to access our safeguarding consultants through what we call Ask an Expert. Because there are experts, those who have free of charge, you can access the services of an expert to help you ensure that you have a good safeguarding policy, that you have a good code of conduct document for your establishment. You would be able to access podcasts and webinars. And at the moment, online, as soon as you go to the website, you will be able to see that we have put out a call for an expression of interest for organizations that actually want to be mentored. So there is a very rigorous process to determine organizations that can benefit from this. So we invite organizations to express interest. Again, the website is nigeria.safeguardingsupporthub.org. Safeguarding Support Hub is one word.
In 30 seconds, your last word, your last advice to people.
My last advice is to say, whilst the 16 Days of Activism heightens awareness, every single day of the year should be one in which we are aware that nobody should be violated, most especially women and girls. I like to quote Oprah Winfrey, who said, "When a society is wounded, we all bleed." So let us stop, think, and do no harm. And being a bystander is not an option. If you see violence happening anywhere, report it to the relevant authorities.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eleanor. My guest has been Dr. Eleanor, and she's currently serving as Senior Advisor and National Sustainability Lead for the Nigeria Resource and Support Hub. She's a medical doctor and international health expert on women's peace and security, gender and human rights. She holds the European Union Masters in Human Rights and Democratization from Venice, in Italy. She is the International President of the Medical Women's International Association, the first in Nigeria in its 104-year history. What a rich resume. Thank you very much for stopping by today. And I hope we continue this conversation some other time.
Thanks to all of you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you want to learn more about this program, why not visit our online hub at nigeria.safeguardingsupporthub.org. If you have any comments on this episode or want to share your thoughts for the focus of future episodes, contact us on info@safeguardingsupporthub.org. Thanks for joining. See you on our next podcast.